Triller.
Yo.
Triller, yeah.
So was the UFC being petty by putting on a free event
Of course.
the same night as the
Of
Triller
course. Y'all
event?
act like this is new game to Dana White.
Yeah.
Dana has done this dozens of times.
Yeah.
He did it when the other entity, Strike Force was doing their joint, and they were gaining popularity. He was like, I think we'll do a free one.
Yeah.
Well, the last Triller had a UFC on the same night too.
Yeah, it did. It did. From my understanding, they made like $100 million off the pay-per-view buys.
Triller?
Right? They did.
I paid $50
looked. So that's a lot of bread. I know that Jake Paul made $650,000.
And Ben Askren
made $500,000.
Did you guys watch the whole thing?
It was a minute and 30 seconds long, bro.
The whole Triller.
No, I was bouncing back and
we
forth.
watched. Yeah.
The thing that I was pissed off that I missed was Mount Rushmore. Did you guys watch that performance?
No.
I didn't watch
Or
any
the Mount
performances.
Westmore, I mean?
Mount Westmore.
Snoop, Ice Cube,
No,
E40,
No, I didn't
and
see
Too
that.
Short.
I saw the Bieber performance, but the thing is,
Was long as hell.
yeah, it was long as hell.
Bieber was on there for way too long.
So I think what happened with the Triller performance is that while the UFC was going on, you have real competition, right? And the Triller's performance felt like spectacle. Like,
Oh, yeah, it's a
like
joke.
I'm
It's a
watching sport. Like I'm watching sport for the sake of watching sport.
Yeah, but the last Triller one with the YG and
Yeah.
like it was dope.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
like the combination
Still,
of music.
still
and-
pageantry and spectacle though, right? And I
it's a
think
show.
that because even the quality of the fights, like Frank Mir fought this other kid and he got beat, but it was competitive. And
It
I heard
wasn't competitive. Frank Mir got tagged up.
he did.
He wasn't ever going to go down.
No, he wasn't going to go down, but like versus that, like let's talk about the marquee fight, right? The Ben Askren Jake Paul fight versus the marquee fight for the UFC was
It was a rematch. It was
it was the kid from Australia. Oh my goodness, hold on
I
a
forgot the
second,
name
man.
of him too. There was a couple of big fights on that card. There
Yeah.
was the Russian dude,
Right.
the
It was
heavyweight.
okay. It was Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum.
Oh yeah, Gastelum.
Yes,
Was that the main?
that was the main.
Whitaker.
What happened?
Yes,
Whitaker
Whitaker put
his
the beats
ass.
on that
Oh,
kid.
Kelvin.
Yes, and I love Kelvin Gastelum. I love Robert Whitaker too. But
Whitaker put him in a clinic.
right. So the point is that
he's dope.
that is an entertaining fight.
Well, and that one also has additional impact
Right.
because the winner fights
Stylebender, Israel Adesanya.
who's already
Right.
beaten Whitaker.
Both of them. He beat both of them.
Well, yeah, but I said that because Whitaker
and
won.
he beat the brakes off of both of them.
Yeah, it wasn't even
he
close.
knocked Robert Whitaker out, and he beat poor
Gastelum.
Kelvin Gastelum down. Right, he beat him up, and for a second we thought he should have knocked him out. But so here's the point, right? Like Jake Paul, right? Jake, right?
Who cares?
Yeah, whatever. One of the Paul boys fights Ben Askren, right? And on the marquee, Ben Askren is world-class athlete. He's, Olympic wrestler. He's because he had a 30 or 29-0
Right, MMA record.
MMA career. Not to mention that he was never ever a striker. Like the reason why he wasn't in the UFC is because
Right.
his fighting style is so damn boring. Dana White didn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
He's just a great wrestler. He's not a striker. So, dude had like a hip replacement. Was sitting on the couch for like a year and a half
After getting slept by Masvidal.
after getting put in the damn phantom zone.
Probably the worst ever
But
I've ever
5
seen.
second
Highlight
phantom zoning. Masvidal put him in, had this dude astral traveling. He separated his spirit from his body. The point that I'm trying to make here is that even in that fight, it looked like he beat up a damn bus driver, bro. Like
Yeah.
Ben Askren didn't look like a world-class athlete, not even a little bit.
Here's my problem: is eventually these Paul boys are going to have to fight a real boxer. You can't keep. I guess you can keep throwing them these dime a dozen fights,
Right.
and you just hype them up online. So far, he's boxed 2 YouTubers
Yes.
and 1 wrestler.
A 40-year-old
No,
retired
A YouTuber,
YouTuber,
a
a basketball player. Yes.
and now an MMA player.
A retired.
Well, a wrestler, if we're going to be very
that's true.
specific.
Yeah, a retired MMA fighter.
Right.
Retired.
So
But
if-
he's graduating up every time.
is he?
Yeah.
Or is he moving laterally?
So
I mean, you gotta
So the
you
first 2
gotta
were
give
fighters.
dude his flowers. Like he's beating people. He's moving into position to fight bigger people.
Sure.
And when he gets that boxer, that's gonna test him.
So let me ask you a question. What's the difference between that and people padding, like, you know how boxing promoters do it. They pad their records of this up and coming kid. Because here's the facts: there's an amateur kid that's been boxing since he was 12 years old, who was the same height, same weight class as Jake Paul, and would eat Jake's lunch, would murder him. Okay. Right? But he's not fighting that guy. He's not cutting his teeth like boxers do. No. Like he's
so
beating up tomato cans, bro.
Here's my thing. You know the worst part is
crush a tomato can?
Listen, Jake Paul, if you watch him, he's not bad.
No, he's not bad.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he could have a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. I don't know how good he is because he hasn't fought a boxer yet.
Right. Listen, he literally fought Ben Askren, right?
How much Jake Paul weigh?
190.
190. Okay. So my kid, Chem Killick, he fights 168, and he wanted to go up to 170, whatever. Mm-hmm. I would put Chem against Jake Paul, and Chem has only gone, I think the last time I saw him fight, only 10 rounds. Like that's his
entire
longest
career.
Fight. Well, yeah, he's got 15 and 1.
He's a boxer?
16. Yeah, he's the one I coached at MGM Grand on the Tyson Fury card.
Right.
Now, I would put Chem in the ring with him and give Jake Paul the 10 pounds.
Right. Well, what you're talking about is skill. So, all right, let's give him his flowers, as Josh so lovely said and put, right? All right, but he fought a guy that is considered one of the worst strikers in MMA, right? He did not fight someone like Israel Adesanya, who was in the same weight class. It's a 5-pound difference, right? Ben Askren fought at 75 or 70 or so. So that 20 pounds, he looks so out of shape, just being terrible. Heavier. He looked terrible. He's not fighting Ben Askren's striking coach is Tyron Woodley. Right, he's not fighting Tyron. He's not fighting Tyron at all. He don't want no parts of Tyron.
Record.
Yeah, and Tyron's lost his last 4 fights.
Yeah.
But Jake doesn't want no part of Tyron. Like, he had the nerve to call out Nate. Nate doesn't have any punching power.
Who,
right? Nate Diaz is not a power puncher.
I would actually not mind watching that.
I would love to see that because I think Nate would tag his ass all the way up.
Probably tag him up.
I think Nate would go round for round, laughing his ass off.
I think it would be a little bit hard for Nate as it got into the bigger rounds because he's not able to do any MMA. It's just strictly boxing.
But Nate also has a gas tank. He does triathlons and because
I'm just saying he's not going to be able to like.
I don't think you can knock him out.
Because what's crazy is that Tyron is supposed to be fighting Oscar De La Hoya. Right? Tyron is supposed to be
who Oscar's taking?
Yes, Tyron is supposed to be fighting Oscar De La Hoya, right? Now, Tyron will probably, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
It depends on how good Oscar is now.
You know, Oscar was the man, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Oscar was pretty nice in his day.
He was beyond.
Yeah, he was, world class, but
I really like this whole mixing of sports and people taking on people. You know, I'm waiting for someone to I think Triller should just make a ring and have boxing and MMA going on same night.
It feels like celebrity boxing.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
Which I'm okay with. I would still pay the $50 to watch it.
There should be stuff like that. Like, I feel like people got beef. Let's watch this
unfold. But let's stop selling people like the Paul brothers as professional boxers.
Because they're not fighting professional boxers.
I mean, his brother is about to fight Floyd Mayweather.
He's not.
Yes, he is. Logan is fighting Mayweather.
Yeah, so let's get this straight. Logan is actually a bigger kid than his brother Jake, right? So we're talking about a dude. Boxer. Yeah, so we're talking about it. He has a worse record though. His record is not as good as Jake's.
But he's got more
right.
Fights,
I think he's got 2 losses on his record, right?
But he talked his way right into a Mayweather fight.
Right.
And I don't know have they signed yet.
Right. Floyd walks around at 145?
He walks around 160.
Okay, he walks around at 160 and fights at 145. He's gonna give up a good.
The last catch weight was 150.
He's gonna give up a good 30 pounds and still beat the brakes off this kid. 30 pounds is significant. That's a big difference. Yeah. Man, look, what are we talking about here? Competition or a sideshow?
I'm okay.
This is a sideshow.
It's a bag.
It's a bag.
Yeah,
it's definitely a bag.
That's all what it's about.
It's entertaining, but I don't. It's like watching the WWE, right? Those guys are athletes.
Very similar.
Those guys actually really do get hurt, right? Sure. But the outcome of the matches don't really mean anything. And when you watch it to watch the athleticism. You watch it to watch the story that these guys are telling. When you watch the Triller thing, they tell the story up until the competition, but then the competition doesn't really feel like a competition. Look, when Ben Askren stepped in that ring, I was like, he's dead. It was like, I saw that dude looking like an assistant principal out of middle school, and I was like, that is his ass, Mr. Postman. Like that is your ass.
He got a jacket with the elbows on
bro,
him.
like he had the tweed jacket with the brown elbows on it. It was like, bro, that is your ass, Mr. Postman. Like, it's not going to, man, come on, man. Look, I felt bad for Ben Askren.
I didn't. He cashed a $500,000 check.
He did.
On top of whatever other sponsorships.
Yes, he did. But all that shit, Dana White bet $1 million that Ben Askren would win that fight. $1 million. I was like, Dana.
You think Dana's worried about that money?
I think Dana doesn't give a fuck about $1 million. But
that's kind of crazy.
No, so, and I was like, Dana, what are you talking about? Because Dana is on record over and over and over again saying these Paul boys are not boxers. They're not boxers. They're not boxers.
But they're not.
But you didn't sign Ben Askren for years. He's over in Japan wrecking these people in Japan, right? And one champion and in Rising, wrecking them with his wrestling skills. Right. You didn't sign him because he couldn't throw hands. And that's what you thought of Jake Paul. And a jab and a heavy right hand later, he's out for the count.
I'm going to leave it on two things. Number one, they still haven't proven themselves to be boxers, just that they can win a boxing match.
And that he has a heavy right hand.
I don't know that.
Hey, you know what?
I don't know.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
I think D should fight one of those motherfuckers.
I think D would beat the shit out of Jake Paul.
But like D could get a bag.
D could get a bag.
And
which is the most important part of this conversation.
Hey, but you know why it wouldn't happen? You know why it wouldn't happen?
They can fight a porn star.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. This is in that.
Hey, you know what? Hey, Jake.
I'm tweeting it right now.
Jake, my boy D would fuck you up, son.
Yeah. Pull up. Pull up.
Give me
you in Calabasas. We right here.
Give me an 8-week training camp. I already boxed out of Outlaw Boxing.
Bro, I don't think you would need 8 weeks. The reason why it would never happen is because D weighs 40 more pounds than that kid.
I'm like 121 right now.
No, 221.
Excuse me, 221.
I mean, you can cut down to 190. You can cut down to 190. Then you'll be faster and stronger.
I'd fight him at 200. I won't go below 200.
You would beat the brakes off that kid.
And how old is he?
He's 21 years old.
I'm literally old enough to be your daddy.
Yeah.
He will son.
I will son you.
Which is exactly what would happen if I whooped your ass.
I'm going to make some phone calls.
Yo, D is old enough to whoop your ass like he's your daddy.
Yeah, and if I win, that'll be in the contract, is you're going to have to refer to me as your daddy.
That's right.
So when I get my check, in the memo area, it's going to say...
Who's your daddy?
No. It's going to say Jake Paul versus Derrick Pierce, a.k.a. Jake's daddy.
Yes. You know what?
That's what it's going to say.
Your name will be Jake Pierce after that, son. We're going to change your name. Your name is Jake Pierce after that, cuz. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, man. That's interesting.
Hey, listen, Jake, I'm really nothing to mess with, man. Like, I've done Taibo. Done some private lessons. I can move a little bit. It's really nothing, homie. I've been on the sidelines. So.
He does yoga on the weekend.
He does yoga.
You ain't got nothing to worry about.
Yoga's mean, bro.
Hey, the only thing I've been beating up for the last decade and a half is ass cheeks, homie. That's it.
Yeah.
So you ain't got nothing to worry about.
He got gas.
Scholar.
I think very deeply.
Sinner.